found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time.
This One's Wife, Unhinged Rose Replicator. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. It was announced yesterday that a rose has been named after Catherine, Princess of Wales, to highlight the healing power of nature. The Royal Horticultural Society, RHS, said it called the flower Catherine's Rose to raise awareness of the role that spending time outdoors plays in supporting people's mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. The Floribunda rose has coral pink blooms with the scent of Turkish delight and mango. Proceeds from every sale will go to the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity. The princess was treated at the hospital in West London for cancer last year. The Princess of Wales revealed she was in remission after making a surprise visit to the hospital in January, where she thanked staff. Catherine's rose will have flowers that attract pollinators and will thrive in a mixed border as a hedge, in a large container, or in a rose bed, according to the RHS. Clusters can have up to 15 blooms, each flower measuring between 8 and 12 centimetres, while the plant that supports it can grow to about 1.2 metres tall by 90 centimetres wide. Claire Mattison, RHS Director General, said the flower would raise awareness of how nature and gardening can help to heal. We know how important this message is, as every day we see how accessing nature and being outside is vital for our health and happiness, she added. There will be 15,000 Catherine's Rose available this autumn, with further roses becoming available next year. It was bred by Hertfordshire-based Harkness Roses, and you can see it in the thumbnail. It's a beautiful rose, it has to be said, and entirely apt for the beautiful and elegant Princess of Wales. A lovely gesture, both in terms of having such a beautiful flower named after her, and also the connotations linked to the power of recovery in nature. This is all good publicity for the Princess of Wales and was naturally met with admiration and approval from many quarters. It was reported across the media, and lo and behold, barely hours after it had appeared, guess what happened? Have a look at this. The news about Catherine's Rose went out around about 3 p.m. UK time, which would mean that would be in the region of 7 a.m. in California. More or less around the time that the news, the reportage about Catherine's Rose went out, This One's Wife went to Instagram and released the video footage that I've just showed you. I've clipped the sound. She played Lollipops by the Chordettes, which I've removed for copyright reasons. And instead, you're treated to the footage of This One's Wife as she's in the garden once again. Now, this footage was taken from last year, which is mentioned in the caption accompanying the video footage that was the post on Instagram. Once again, note that This One's Wife is taking to Instagram for the purposes of the necessity of the assertion of control and the drawing of fuel and the management of her facade. And as you've seen, we see her strolling along wearing beige. Yes, the Duchess of Industrial Beige. She's true to form in that regard, as she carries a basket which has got some foliage in it and, lo and behold, some roses, which rather amusingly look like beige roses. We then see her petting the dog. That may well have been Guy the Beagle before he shuffled off this mortal coil. And then This One's Wife is they're cropping the stems of the roses. I would question whether she's doing that properly. Doesn't look like the right tool to me. It looks a bit heavy-handed. You have to be careful, because if you use too thick a blade on a rose stem, you'll crush it, which then makes it difficult for them to absorb water as effectively and shortens the life of the roses. And as you saw, this one's wife then chucks it all in a vase. It's a horrendous display, which is then taken into the kitchen. Don't know who's filming it. Maybe it was Harry, maybe it's someone else. Don't really care. Naturally, this one's wife has to ensure that she's in it as she sits there, or stands there rather, with a smug, self-satisfied grin on her face. The old Richter grin comes out, and there we are. Now, this was not footage that she went and immediately filmed in response to the news about Catherine's rose, but rather material that she'd filmed some time ago, and accordingly, this is what has happened. As a narcissist, she has a particular preoccupation with Catherine, which I'll return to in a moment. This preoccupation means that on a near daily basis, she checks on news about Catherine. When she sees that Catherine has a rose named after her, this wounds her. This is because the reportage about this development is directed towards Catherine and not her. It immediately starts to make her feel small, vulnerable, and weak. Her narcissism as her self-defense mechanism then steps in, causing an ignition of fury, the result of which is it compels her to go and find amongst her library of photographs and videos a clip of her with some roses. And then she uploads it to Instagram in order to draw likes, and with the expectation that it's commented about across social and mainstream media, so that she can draw fuel, which is to address the wounding that she has experienced, and to nullify the threat to control posed by the positive commentary about Catherine. Now remember, this one's wife doesn't know that she's a narcissist, so she doesn't do this. I'm wounded by what's said about Catherine. I now need to nullify that threat to control, and I need more fuel. So what I'll do is I'll find some footage of me with some roses and put that on Instagram, and that'll deal with the wounding, and it'll deal with the threat to control, and it'll garner me some fuel. She doesn't think in such terms, but that's what's going on subconsciously, controlled by her narcissism. What she thinks to herself is, that fucking bitch, getting reported on, getting a rose. Why does she get a rose? I should have a rose. I'm far more beautiful and special than her. Well, I'll show her. I'll show her that I not only am good with roses, but I have beautiful roses in my garden, and I can make a beautiful arrangement. She can't do that. She's not as good as me. She's not as able as me. She's not as craft-based as me. And thus, where have I got some footage? I'm sure I've got some footage somewhere about me dealing with roses. Here we are. Let's get this on the gram. That'll show her. And that's essentially what's going through her mind, driven by the resentment and envy, those strong narcissistic traits that she has, which are harnessed by her narcissism to compel her to respond in the way that she does. She is, in effect, replicating what she has seen in relation to Catherine, copying the rose-based aspect, because, of course, she has no originality herself, and basically it's whatever you can do in relation to roses, I can do, and I can do it better. It's childish and pathetic, admittedly, but there is a more sinister element to this. The fact is that this one's wife has a rather unhealthy obsession with Catherine. I've explained this on numerous occasions before, and it revolves around the fact that she believes that she ought to be Catherine. She believes that she ought to become the Queen of England, that she ought to be with William, that she resents the praise and admiration that Catherine garners. She thinks she should be receiving it. She thinks that she should be in her position. And therefore, as a consequence of that deluded mindset, she has developed an obsession in relation to Catherine, which causes her on a near daily basis to want to know what Catherine is up to. In this day and age of social media and immediate information about people, of course, you can just go to Google, punch in Catherine, Princess of Wales, and you'll be told what she's been up to. And she will do this on a daily basis, in effect stalking her through social media for the purposes of dealing with this obsession. Her narcissism has caused a fixed view of Catherine, who is painted black, so that she will repeatedly go and see what she's up to, and then whatever she sees invariably causes her to feel a sensation of weakness and vulnerability, save where, of course, Catherine is getting bad press. So last year, when Catherine was being slated in relation to her Photoshop error, or when there was the "Where's Catherine gone?" and there was all of the despicable comments in relation to her absence, which of course was caused by her illness, that would have delighted this one's wife, because there was no praise and admiration going to Catherine. Instead, she was being attacked, and she would savour that, because it would give her a sense of control, an indirect sense of control. But when, driven by her obsession, her unhealthy obsession, she looks and sees something positive about Catherine, that wounds her, ignites her fury, and results in her doing obvious things such as this. It's patently obvious that she's responded in this way because of what she's seen in relation to Catherine. And the reason that she sees it in relation to Catherine is because she is obsessed with seeing what Catherine is doing, because, quite simply, through her deluded mind, she thinks she should be Catherine. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.